Call Halayim La, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. I want to give a double honors to the apostles and elders that prophesied and rule well for the hopeful 144 and 1/3 of Yasharallah, who this world refers to as Israel, starting at the house of Great Millstone. Shalom to you Akim, who teach and learn in sincerity. Shalom to the Akwith, who learn in sincerity. It's your brother, Kanan, from the Indianapolis camp. And I wanted to do an open forum, 9/11. What you're looking at is the Fair Use Copyright Act, meaning that I have no intentions of selling any product or selling this. This is all for educational purposes.
I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon. Well, I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
We're remembering 9/11 22 years later today.
Okay, good old 9/11. Another anniversary is coming around. And anniversary of what? Let's let the scriptures tell you what 9/11 symbolizes. This is Psalms 58:2. Yea, in your heart ye work wickedness. Ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. Now, 9/11, terrorists came through with box cutters, hijacked planes, ran them into government buildings, all right? Buildings that later on exposed Babylon, spiritual Babylon, the daughter of Babylon for what she was, if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, okay? The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born. So as soon as they're born, their relationship with the Most High, okay, with anything of righteousness is severed, disconnected, okay? They go astray as soon as they are born, speaking lies, okay? So that was the second Bush president speaking lies. Oh, yeah, we're all going to remember this insurance policy payoff that costs lives of our nation, okay? And the major figureheads not only took off work that day, but gained, okay, profited from the lives of all that were lost from the towers. And I'm not pretty much for sure if anybody at the Pentagon supposedly got injured. But the mentality of E and what he's willing to do to his own, injure his own to bring forth his enterprise, which is the New World Order, which has to be established out of chaos. Okay, so at that time in 2001, the high up figureheads, what we would know as the Illuminati, said that their plans are not moving quick enough. Okay, and also this 9/11 led to this age that we're living in right now with it advanced it. It didn't lead to it. It advanced the wicked decrees that push forth this digital era to the MOTB, the establishment of it, let me say. All right. This is Psalms 53:3. Every one of them is gone back. They are altogether become filthy. Okay, filthy. There is none that doth good, no, not one. And once again, this verse is speaking to the wicked, which we know Out of all 17 nations, there is one appointed wicked, Esau, okay? The so-called white man, which we know to this day is red. This is the book of Job. (13 and 4). But ye are forgers of lies. You are physicians of no value. Okay, once again, what came along with 9/11? After 9/11, they falsely accused they created a boogeyman. Okay, they didn't have a real adversary to go to war with. Okay, because it was supposed to be a couple foreigners who you can't blame them for the whole act of a nation, but yet they had to go get these terrorists. So they go create a boogeyman. They go into Kuwait, which was actually ran by a CIA plant, and they go wipe out his resources and started an unnecessary war over in Kuwait, once again for resources. Okay, with the blame, not that Kuwait had anything to do with 9/11, but the enemy was hiding there. Okay, forges of lies. Okay, physicians of no value. All right, all once again to establish their enterprise. Okay, this is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, starting at verse 5. Ye also, because you transgress by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. Once again, this was what 9/11 was set to establish. We need an enemy. We got to go to war. Okay. Who enlarges his desires as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. Okay, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Okay, primarily why they call this the melting pot, a big bowl of gumbo. All right, but as this is stating, this is not speaking on just the people who live in Babylon. This is saying that everywhere he sees, he wants it to run and act like him. Just like Yahweh Bashim Yahushua desires this world to be righteous, the wicked desires this world to be wicked. Okay?
Office have identified 2 more victims from this day 22 years later. Now, the family is asking that their names be withheld, but we do know from the officials that they are the remains of a man and a woman, the 1,648th and 49th victims of the terror attacks on 9/11. And more than 2 decades later, New York's firefighters are still passing away from 9/11 related illnesses. Andrew Ansbro, president of the FDNY Uniformed Firefighters Association, says 341 firefighters have now died of ground zero related illnesses, which he says nearly equals how many died in the 2001 terror attack. Joining us now to discuss a bit more of that day is a veteran.
Okay.
Changes. The Russian Foreign Ministry has now accused Armenia and all of its government of making a series of unfriendly steps toward the nation of Russia. The Armenian leadership, they say, has taken these series of steps in recent days, and this includes the launching of the process of ratification of the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. This has issued Putin's arrest warrant. A trip over to Ukraine by the wife of the prime minister to deliver humanitarian aid, and the holding of military exercises on and inside Armenian territory with direct participation of NATO countries is a violation against Russia, they warn. The Armenian ambassador has been summoned to the Russian Foreign Ministry, giving a strict warning, saying that a note of protest was put into place, and this basically says that if Armenia does not change its course, it will begin to be viewed by Russia as an enemy state. The August CPI report for the U.S. Economy has been expected to reveal headline inflation that is increasing again. They don't care that they are taking all of your money and you're giving it directly to the government or to corporations. We're seeing percentage points and tenths of percentage point increases every single month. This is directly affecting your ability and your future. Romania and the USA are set to conduct their exercises with Ukraine in a major escalation. This was after Russia flew its drones into Romanian territory. These exercises will take place in the Black Sea. The press service of the Romanian Navy and military personnel from Bulgaria, Great Britain, France, and even Turkey will also take part in these exercises. Saudi Arabia is beginning to turn towards metals. Now, this is a significant move. We know that these countries are against the United States dollar. This quarter, worthless. This silver, worth something. This quarter used to have real, well, it still has some, but it used to be made of silver, and it was...
Okay. Now I'm going to go back to this Habakkuk 2 and 5. Ye also, because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desires as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, thick debt. And we're going to get into that. But in the meanwhile, I want to show you what this man is explaining here. This is Russia, okay? Ukraine, the neighbor. All Edomites, by the way. And we'll get to that. All right? Well, here is Romania. UN. Okay? Who is the leader of UN? The whore. Babylon. Spiritual Babylon, the United States. So if you take in consideration that United States does not have any of Russia or China's defenses neighboring them, bordering them. But as you see, everything in blue on this map is considered NATO, and then the yellow supposedly neutral, but they're not. Ukraine is far from neutral right now. They're receiving all of our money to put on this proxy war with Russia, okay? So this is what Russia's fighting against. Get the fuck off my land. Back up, okay? But as we've read, spiritual Babylon can't do that, okay? They're not built like that. This is the book of Job 5 and 12. He is disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. And I should have pulled this out a little bit later, but this is where we're headed, okay? All of this wickedness, war, plotting to take this, plotting to do that. Meanwhile, everything is coming to a nigh. Our economic, our power hold over the world is all decreasing on a daily basis, okay? That's why I pulled this out. Now, we're going back to the book of, and I may have to bring that back out because he's going to go in good detail. We're going back to Habakkuk 2. And this is verse 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them. Now, I want to get the Bible comparison to that. This is the NLT. Suddenly, your debtors, once again, thick clay. And is United States not trillions and trillions and trillions in debt without any means of paying it back? We don't have any of it, okay? So what's their mentality? War, okay? Suddenly, your debtors will take action. They will turn on you and take all you have while you stand trembling and helpless, okay? Now, here you go. For Armenia, Russia guarantees security against. Okay? Russia supports Armenia during the first Negron Karabakh war, but the tensions with the West heat up Moscow. Okay, so I just wanted to grab this. This is the partnership between Putin and Romania's leader. This is only 2022, and voila! Look at how the tides change so quick. All right. Now, Romania is taking the side of Ukraine. Okay. Once again, I showed you the map. Romania, Ukraine, Russia. Okay? Now look at this down here. Armenia to exercise with United States troops next week. Okay? So see how the tides change, tides change so quick? Okay? So once again, United States trying to enlarge their borders to the point where it does not belong to them. Okay?
And in NATO, and then what we're seeing in the rest of the world. The U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserves, the SPR, these are developed so that if we go to war, the country still has the fuel that it needs to operate. We are standing at our lowest levels since the year 1983. The SPR is just holding 46 days.
Now you see now why I grabbed that Isaiah 31, Isaiah 33 and 1. Okay? Salakia. No, I haven't even got there. Now you see now why I grabbed that Job 5 and 12. Okay? This is their enterprise being broken. Okay, their plans are not going at all as desired, but actually on the elite level it is, because the elites are done with the United States. They're literally planning this downfall. Okay, and your high up figureheads, they know they're going along for it.
Of supply. This is the lowest that we have seen in May of 2020. Before the SPR depletion started, we used to have almost 100 days. The historical average is much, much more than where it stands right now, and we are now below the peak and 29% below the average. I want to ask you, what happened to your politicians making sure that we had an emergency, a contingency plan if we lose access? They know that we are running this until it breaks. You know, I guess they used to have like a drive it like it's hot, which used to mean like, or drive it like it's stolen. Is the blood of real estate. Regional and community banks dominated these marketplaces. They grew as important after the 2008 financial crisis. That was when our country's largest banks reduced or basically folded their exposure. Low interest rates made higher yield real estate loans lucrative, but now we're seeing that strategy all but washed away. Banks right now are under pressure. They have to pay depositors more than what they can keep inside of their holdings. Depositors are withdrawing funds from small and regional lenders. This is leading to the collapsing of mid-sized banks. There is a fear of system-wide crisis events. They call it a doom loop. And they say that the doom loop scenario is starting to play out. Vacancies, unemployment, cost of living, wages, this is all part of that loop. Real estate investors say that they cannot refinance their debt. They're defaulting. Lenders no longer getting the debt payments. They're defaulting. The banks are ending up owning property that has no value.
Okay, so when I see that, that's going to directly affect home, right? Well, here we go. Second Esdras, chapter 15, starting at 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. 4. There shall be sedition amongst men, and invading one another. Why? Because I can't get to my money. If I can't get to my money, I can't eat. That's simple. If I went to work and worked for this money, and now you're telling me I'm getting cut off, all right? And then you're imposing more things like lockdowns, okay, to further restrict me. And we already know we don't have access to hunting, to it's illegal for rainwater. Okay, I can keep going. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. That's your modern day politicians that set up all these draconian laws. We're cutting down all the trees, so there's no breathing, there's no oxygen. Yet we're gonna blame farts for the reason why you can't breathe while we ride private jets. Okay. So that's one reason right there, not to regard your king and prince. We want you to eat bugs while we eat the finest steaks still available, okay? And their causes and their course of their actions shall stand in their power. So, you know, when these people get riled up, your 9/11 or Salakia, that January 6th, you need to just go ahead and multiply that scene and multiply that scene. And actually, I'll be honest with you, more like Venezuela a couple years ago, when it was this madness, chaos in the street. And what made that? The collapse of their economic collapse. Okay. This is the book of Isaiah 33:1. Woe to thee that spoileth, and that was not spoiled, and dealeth treacherously. United States, once again, what was 9/11 about? Oh, the people who knocked down these buildings are going to pay. Well, you went after everybody but the so-called people who, well, you actually created them and said that they went from here to there so you can go causing chaos and over in what's known as the Middle East, so you could take their resources, okay? And dealteth treacherously, and they dealteth not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to dealing treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. And that's what all of these nations are doing now, okay? We're getting ready for that battle of Jehoshaphat, all right? Coming with the hooks being put in Russia, the chief priests, Gog and Magog, to turn them around and force them into battle, okay? Russia's no longer docile under the leadership of Putin, and he's actually riled up these other nations to face off against the whore, okay? Spiritual Babylon and the beast, NATO, okay? And we also know prophecy says the beast will also make war with the whore that set upon it, because this whore just ain't right, okay?
Blood of real estate. Regional and community banks dominated these marketplaces. They grew as important after the 2008 financial crisis. That was when our country's largest banks reduced or basically folded their exposure. Low interest rates made higher yield real estate loans lucrative, but now we're seeing that strategy all but washed away. Banks right now are under pressure. They have to pay depositors more than what they can keep inside of their holdings. Depositors are withdrawing funds from small and regional lenders. This is leading to the collapsing of mid-sized banks. There is a fear of system-wide crisis events. They call it a doom loop. And they say that the doom loop scenario is starting to play out. Vacancies, unemployment, cost of living, wages, this is all part of that loop. Real estate investors say that they cannot refinance their debt. They're defaulting. Lenders no longer getting the debt payments. They're defaulting. The banks are ending up owning property that has no value.
Okay. So once again,
Default.
I'm gonna pull this back out one more time. This is Second Esdras, chapter 2, 15. Or Salakia, Second Esdras, chapter 15 and 16. For they shall be sedition amongst men. There shall be sedition amongst men, and invade one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the causes of their actions shall stand in their hand, in their power. Salakia, in their power. Because when everything goes down, meaning the foundation that we've been living on, the comfort and ease of always having what we want at our fingertips, and you take that away, and the ability to go get it, even if you're willing to go work for it, then it's going to cause people to rob, steal, and kill. Okay, it's just that simple. When you're not given the option to work for what you want, you take it. Okay.
Real estate in default. Finance their debt. They're defaulting. Lenders no longer getting the debt payments. They're defaulting. The banks are ending up owning property that has no value. They say the plumbing is clogged. That's Scott Reckler. He's the chief executive of real estate investor RXR. And it's going to create a backup that will overflow. Just like if you have a clog in your pipes, then your comes back in your sink. Your feces comes back in your shower. And they're saying that's what's happening in the market right now. You're going to see overflow in commercial real estate, in individual lending, and in the entire banking system. And they say that when banks ask to refinance, few respond. It's not even worth trying. This individual has $240 million in mortgages that are coming due in on a 33-story building. Vacancies are high. Renovations aren't taking place. They ran the numbers and said, you know what, they'll just default. It's easy for them, but it's hard for us. Banks increase their exposure. This is a game changer. U.S. banks are caught up in this same trap that Chinese banks are in. The winners are going to be the ones who most aggressively find new ways to take risk. The markets are going to fall apart. We're going to see a systemic fallout from this. The problem is that when the markets have risen for so long, whether for good or bad or prudent reasons, we know that that risk is about to fall apart. The process is well understood. It has been for centuries now. It's been blamed on stupidity or even purposefully negligent processes in the economy. But they say now this process is so well known that they know what they're doing. They know that they are ruining your life. The Romanian army, according to sources, is looking for a second and even a third Russian drone that crashed inside of Romanian territory in the past 3 days. Now, we are seeing outlets inside of Romania in open source intelligence, in on-the-ground data gathering. They are saying that if this is proven that Russia flew in multiple drones into Romanian territory, then this is an act of war. And NATO has already said, Romania, we stand behind you. Now, as soon as this happens, if they can prove that it's Russia against Romania now, if this wasn't accidental, if this happens to be a trend that is starting, then you can expect the nukes to fly, you can expect chemical weapon releases, you can expect biological events, you can expect all of the worst things that you can even think of to happen, because World War III will be the worst war our world has ever seen. Entire countrysides obliterated.
World War III will be the last war this world has ever seen. Okay? Thus says Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Catastrophes unlike even the things that our history has shown us. The Black Plague will be nothing to the World War III plague that would come. Japan and China, they're selling U.S. treasuries over and over again. They're facing their own crash in their economy. The Fed is now promising to sell $60 billion worth of treasuries every month. But who's going to buy it at a trillion dollar deficit in Washington? The dollars that have been earned are worth less now. And we're starting to see change that will never be able to be repaired. Moscow, inside of Russia, we're seeing the building of Federal Customs Service that was on fire. Explosions were heard there. Maybe it was a drone attack. Maybe it was sabotage. Walmart, after telling their pharmacists to reduce their own hours so that...
Okay, now, with that World War III chatter, let's get that. Now, we all know that, okay, there's going to be wars and rumors of wars. But before we're out of here, which actually he's doing a great job of describing, all of these countries really are not coming up economically. Okay, it's looking like it's looking like Russia and China are making advances, but that's not the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and that's not actually the will of the elites. The elites want to see everybody suffer so they can force you into that MOTB. Revelations 13, 16 through 17, that mark, the Karagma. Okay, then shall come the end. All right, this is Revelations 11 and 13. In the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, a perfect number. Okay, just like he said that he had 7,000 that had not bowed a knee. That's not exactly literally 7,000. That's the perfect number of saints, men, women, children who did not bow the knee to Baal, the devil. This is a perfect number of those being slain, 7,000. And the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. All right. Second World War back in the 40s, and now, voila, we're here. Less than 80 years, we're back in the position to end it all. Okay. But we know that this war these nukes are not going to blow up the whole world, but it's going to bring forth the new world. Okay. This is Revelations. It's going to clean this place up so Yahweh Bashim Yahushua will establish the new heaven here on earth. Okay, this is Revelations 18 and 7, starting at 17. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to nigh, and every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea stood afar off. Now, he just got through explaining that we're not, China's doing more with resources than us. We're not building things, guys. We're just a middleman, an import, come and go. And we're dominating with the petrodollar that no longer exists. It no longer exists. There's a digital currency set up, established, and it's not only going to trade the place of the dollar, but the dollar is going to lose value all the way down to 55 to 1. Okay. And somewhere around that ballpark, it's going to take you up to $50 to compare to what you spend a day as a dollar. Now, if we see increase in gas and food today, basically using the same dollar, and they're not telling you, but it's gradually losing its power. What's going to happen when they tell us overnight, inflation overnight to the degree of bread, $250? Okay, gas, unmentionable, 30 something a gallon. Okay, this is once again, that takes you to second Esdras 15. Okay. And cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto the great city? Now keep in mind, these are the same nations that tossed those nukes because Yahweh Bashim Yahushua put it in their heart, their mind, their lob too. Okay, now they're standing afar off like, damn, we did make a lot of money off her though. Okay, the whore. And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her coastlines. Puerto Rico, which is part of our province. Okay. For in 1 hour is she made desolate. Now that's the promise of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Starting off with those IBMs and definitely aided by those chariots, those high concentrated lasers coming from those chariots, okay? Now, once again, the MOTB has to be implicated. Now, when this comes about and the great whore is taken down, all right? Now, what we're dealing with is a bunch of nations that think that they're going into the power seat. But as I showed you earlier, Ukraine, Russia, Romania, those are not just the key players of, okay, Babylon. Who's at the head of all these nations? Edom, Esau, okay? So which brings me to this point, and we're going to close this out. I pray that this was edifying to the body. This is Matthews 12. I mean, keep up. Majority Moab, Moab's there, but that's minute on the world stage, okay? And even the leader of Moab, you never know, he could be a tear, a Edom tear. That's how the Lord has this set up. But we know Russia has or Salakia, Ham has a figurehead and in the UN and in the BRICS. And what this is all these nations have taken part in the spoils of Yasharallah, you so-called African Americans, Native Americans, Hispanics. So they all got to play. He's drawing them all down to the Valley of Jehoshaphat. Who does not have a military? Jacob. Now Jacob is in everybody's military because we're scattered amongst all the nations. Okay, so 2/3 of y'all gonna pay. Whoever is wearing that uniform and that day will not be spared from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Okay, because you did not come up out of her. You did not disconnect yourself from this way of lifestyle. So here we go. This is Matthew 12 and 25. And Yahushua said, and Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. Now, once again, I've explained all of these nations, majority of these nations taking place in this World War III are headed by Edom. Okay, you can't deny that. The world leaders are headed by Edom, okay? And every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Yeah, I can vouch for that, okay? And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? Okay, so World War III, until Yahushua comes and intervenes, it's going to be majority of Edom fighting with Edom, throwing these nukes back and forth at each other. Okay, so with that, I want to make this point clear, because once again, what is this all for? Domination of the world for the next kingdom, the next eon. You know, this obviously spiritual Babylon is being canceled out. First of all, by Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, because his left hand is no longer needed. Second of all, by those who have been set up to think that they're gods, granted his left hand, Edom, moving on with their enterprise, the New World Order, which won't need spiritual Babylon, the whore, to be the representative, to be the leader. So United States is not seen in the future as being what they are today, the presence that they are today, okay? And with that being said, I want to make it make sense. This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 6 and 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of times? Or when shall be the end of the first? The first what? This eon that we're in, this time. And the beginning of it that followeth. Okay? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, of Isaac. Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau because Esau was born first, okay? And we know that there was a major power struggle in Rebekah's womb. They fought the whole time she was pregnant with them, okay? So Esau came out first, and Jacob was holding that heel like, get your ass back in here. But what that really represents is you got it now, and we're taking it over. We're pulling you down. We're going to pull down your stronghold. But here's the problem. Where is our military to do that? Where is our soldiers? We don't need them. We got Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay? And he's coming with the hosts, with the army, those chariots that represent our people. Okay? And of course, on this side, he's coming for our elect, the 144 and the 1/3. And he will be casting those lasers at the undesired, the 2/3 of our nation, along with the 17 nations. Okay, starting with Edom. All right. 4. Esau is the end of the world, the eon, the time, the present kingdom that we're in. Jacob is the beginning of that followeth. And what's going to follow? The kingdom of everlasting. Yasharallah. No more wars, like I said. Okay, not the worst war. Yes, the worst world ever, but the last world war ever. Okay, we won't need those weapons anymore. The Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is going to put those IBMs to use, and once again, we won't have this situation in the kingdom that follow. Okay, it won't be nobody taking the spot, nobody taking the crown from Yahweh Shai. All right. So once again, this was Open Forum 9/11, showing you that the wicked will always be the wicked until Yahweh Bashim Yahushai put an end to them. With that, I pray that this was edifying. Shalom.